Hello everybody, Corey Michael Sanchez here, mojovideomarketing.com, and we've got Mr. Ira Rosen here as well. Say hello.
Hello everyone and welcome and congratulations. We are about to pull back the curtain. We are holding back on nothing. So we're going to give you 6 years in the trenches, stuff that works like crazy. Right, Corey?
That's right. You opted in to get the Lead Tsunami system, and here we are. We're going to deliver it for you and show you exactly how to get the best business leads. And if you're watching this, it's because you saw our page, you wanted to get this valuable information because you don't want to crawl through the desert anymore when it comes to your business leads. You want to succeed. You want to thrive, and you want to get really tap into unlimited amounts of leads. And that's what we're here to share with you on exactly how to do that, so it's systematic, so it's scalable, so you can do this now and 6 months from now and you have the same amount of leads coming in every day. So we're going to really show you how to do it. In fact, by the end of this video, you'll know everything about our system, from how we're getting leads, how we're getting in front of decision makers, how we're closing them, so you can actually start taking action on it right away. Right, Ira?
Absolutely. You know, this is a new economy. We all know this. What worked 2 or 3 years ago is obsolete. Matter of fact, what worked last year doesn't work. When we speak at these large events, people come up to us and they all say the same thing. We're working twice as hard. We're making half the money. And so I want to congratulate you for being on this important training program right now, because we're going to show you how to change the game right now, because you want to hit next year hard and fast. We're going to give you those tools right now.
That's right. And here's the biggest thing too, is that one of the biggest premises in marketing is really, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? So you can know a lot of information, but if you have the right connections, that's really going to take you to the next level. And that's what really this is all about. It's about establishing those critical relationships that can lead to your next sales, that can be your joint venture partners, that can send you all kinds of traffic and all kinds of business. Right, Ira?
Absolutely. You know, it's called, social capital or social influence. And LinkedIn is one of the best kept secrets on the internet. So what we're going to do is we're going to explain to you how that, how we've been able to tap into that, that gold mine, and that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, LinkedIn is the most trusted site on the planet for business. Do you realize that billions of dollars of commerce are exchanged on a daily basis through LinkedIn? When we discovered it, a few years back, we were blown away, and we're going to get into some stats and show you why that is the case. If you're spending your whole day on Facebook, stop right now. Facebook is great, and we're going to show you later on how to use that, but right now we're going to talk mostly about LinkedIn and some other things, and also how to integrate video with LinkedIn, in my opinion, are the two hottest, most predictable ways to get your calendar full. And also, one of the things we're advocates for is we want to stamp out and eradicate, it's called empty calendar syndrome. If your calendar is empty, it's the same as your house is on fire. And when you have something that's urgent, and that's urgent if you have an empty calendar, you ignore it, that becomes a crisis. Right, Corey?
Yeah, it's one of the most important things to do is to fill your calendar with prospects. And that's probably why you're watching this video, is you want to learn how to do that even better and faster. And we, of course, want you to do the same. And Ira kind of jumped the gun a little bit talking about one of the biggest methods that we've ever used in order to generate leads. And it's actually called LinkedIn. Now, I want to ask you a question. Do you have a LinkedIn profile? Do you do much with LinkedIn? Have you ever used it to get business? Well, the fact is that most people that we've ever found, they've actually never done anything with LinkedIn. Well, barely anything. I mean, there's the things that you do. You get connections, right? You might message out some people. You might update your profile. But that's about it. That's all most people are doing with LinkedIn. In fact, they've kind of seen it as, they've treated it as the red-headed stepchild, right? And I gotta say that was what we did here in the early days of Mojo. We completely ignored LinkedIn, and I've got to say right now that was probably one of the worst decisions we ever could have made in the beginning of our company, right? Because in the beginning we'd go out doing old school traditional methods, networking, We do networking, we do trade shows and stuff like that. And now that's great for getting business, and it really did jumpstart what we were doing. However, with that being said, it really was time consuming. It took a lot of energy to do that, right? And it's not scalable. It required Ira and I to go around to these networking events and really do a ton of meeting and greeting with people, and you never knew who you're going to meet. At the end of the day, I mean, you might have a lot of great prospects, but you might have almost zero prospects. And for the energy output, I mean, you go to a networking event, it'll take 2-3 hours, sometimes even more, it just depends. And you got to go there, you got to meet everybody, you know, get the business cards, and that's only the beginning, right? What happens after that? So we really, you know, after a couple, you know, we were doing this for a full year straight. In fact, we had 1,200 back-to-back meetings with prospects as a result of our networking efforts. But then, somewhere along the line, you realize that if we keep doing this, we're going to get burned out. And we're going to join the ranks of all those, you know, the statistics for businesses closing down in the first 12 to 72 months. They're pretty ugly. In fact, 9 out of 10 businesses, according to the SBA, close down in the first 12 to 72 months. It doesn't look good for small businesses. And you know what? If you're doing it the old school way, like networking, then yeah, that's probably going to happen. So how do we prevent that from really taking place in our company? How do we prevent ourselves from getting burnt out? Right? It's one of the biggest things that happens with a lot of business owners and a lot of sales professionals is that they're working really hard, but they're spinning their wheels. They're not doing things with the most new and improved strategies that are actually going to help you leverage your time and take what might take you 8 hours to do and shrink it down to a couple hours or even less than that. And so we set out on a huge mission to find the best ways to generate business leads. So we did Facebook, we tried Twitter, we went to we did speaking gigs, we did webinars, right? We did all kinds of stuff like blogging and pay-per-click and you name it, we spent money on it. Even print ads, which was really expensive and didn't work out too well, right? So we went on a hunt, and what we usually do is we spend about $5,000, a month on something just to see if it's going to work, right? And it won't take us long to realize if something's going to work or not. So we just kept at it and trying this thing and that thing and that thing, and we had a lot of great success along the way. But we also figured that there was a lot of things that were, number one, too expensive. Print. I mean, that cost, $5,000 for an ad in the business journal. It was horrendous, right? And we did that month after month without any return whatsoever. We wanted to see if it would work, right? We've done radio. And some things are very expensive and have zero, almost no return. Some things aren't very expensive, right? But they take a lot of effort. Blogging, per se. That one's great. I mean, it's really great for generating traffic, but you know what? It takes a ton of energy and effort and output in order to pull in that traffic. And for us, it just wasn't as scalable and as systematic as we wanted it. Right? We've tried pay-per-click. That can be really expensive, and if you don't know what you're doing, you could lose a lot of money in a very short amount of time. So we tried all of these things, and still we hadn't figured out the way where every day I knew I was getting 5 appointments or 8 appointments, or we've got 20 people knocking on our door saying that they want to hear more. So we did this time after time after time, and right about then is when we started setting our sights on LinkedIn, right, Ira?
Absolutely. And little by little, as we got into it, we realized we really stumbled across something, and really it was by accident, just trial and error, trial and error. And one of the things that we did was we knew that we probably failed and made more mistakes than anybody, but we were just so relentless we were not going to give up. So we figured out how to collapse time. What I mean by that is what would take someone 3 to 5 years to get to, we figured out how to get there in under 12 months. And that is valuable because at the end of the day, it's all about how we use our time. If you've never read the book, The 4-Hour Workweek, I would strongly recommend it. In that book, the premise is 90% of our day is totally non-revenue producing. And so what LinkedIn does is it helps you harness your time because let's say, as Corey was talking about, you go to a networking event for 2 or 3 hours. If you're going to do that, you're better off taking that 2 or 3 hours, jump on LinkedIn, and you walk away with massive, massive results, and you have all these people. There are absolutely no gatekeepers on LinkedIn, and people that you would not meet within a million years. You're going to be able to connect up with CEOs, CFOs. You can target your specific audiences, whether it's authors, consultants, dentists, plastic surgeons, attorneys. There's just a wealth of people in there of high-value clients. The average income on LinkedIn is $112,000. Facebook is half of that, about $62,000. So if you're tired, and we were, of going, you go whale hunting, and that's really what you want to do. You want to work with people that have the money, that want to work with you. But when you pull the fish out of the water, you got this little baby guppy flopping around. They don't have the ability to buy your products. And so that's what happens when you go to a lot of these networking events. You have people that come up to you that some of them don't even know you, and the first thing they do is give you their business card. On LinkedIn, you don't have to deal with that, and everyone's trying to pitch everybody. On LinkedIn, and of course you have to show up in a little different way. You have to show up from a place of education and service, collaboration. It has to be a very soft message initially, and those are the things that we get into in this course. We show you exactly how to go in there so that people are going to be magnetically drawn to you, because what you want is, you do not want to show up pitching and selling. I think everybody nowadays understands that, but there's a right way and a wrong way to communicate on LinkedIn. Your message is everything on LinkedIn. Your strategies are everything on LinkedIn. And so one of the things we've been able to do is we have sent out millions and millions of messages, and we've really have honed that down and figured that out. Right, Corey?
That's right. So we've really dedicated ourselves to figuring it out, because we knew that if we could just get the system down on LinkedIn, we could do really exceptionally well. But nobody could really tell us how to do it in the very beginning. So we were kind of going out there and asking all of these marketing experts. I was like, what are you doing on LinkedIn? How are you, are you getting leads from it? How's that working out? And time after time, I mean, we tried the things that they recommended, and it turned out, I mean, the things that they recommended weren't really leading to a lot of leads. I mean, it was great things to do, but I mean, getting connections, let's be real, it's not going to put money in my pocket. But then I found out how to really do it. Okay, so we found out the way to turn a connection into a closed deal, into a transaction. It took a long time. I mean, nobody could really tell us how to do this. And I still look at LinkedIn as the wild, wild west. I mean, people are still trying to figure out and tap into that gold mine. And I think we figured out a couple veins of gold that we've tapped into and methods, and that's what we're here to share with you. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to save you years of figuring out how to do this. And most importantly, if you don't figure out LinkedIn or you don't do anything with it, then I mean you're going to be in the same spot, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And we knew that we needed a different result for a company, so that's why we spent all that time to do it. And it got really exciting for us. I mean, the reason that we tapped into LinkedIn is because we saw the stats. Average salary on LinkedIn is $112,000. Right? This was the stat we saw years ago when we started looking at it. Right? Average salary on Facebook, $61,000. Average salary on Twitter, $58,000. Now, this might have changed since then, but the premise is clear. We wanted to figure out how to tap into that higher income bracket for LinkedIn. And so that's why we spent all this time and money and energy and effort to figure this out, and that's what we're going to share with you here today. Now, LinkedIn, what do you do with it? What are your first steps? How do you go about it? All right, so let me share that with you, because this is where it gets super exciting. The first thing that LinkedIn, what's so amazing about LinkedIn is you can really get in front of anybody. I mean, anybody you'd want to meet, like I was saying, any kind of business, they're on there. There's all kinds of niches on there. In fact, if you want to find people that love golf, there's groups of people that love golf on LinkedIn, people that love their Rolex watch, their Range Rover. There's nurses, engineers, there's project managers, there's property managers as well. I mean, there's all kinds of people on there, from business owners and entrepreneurs and startups and sales directors and human resources people. So the first thing we want to do is figure out, kind of what works. Now, I'm going to go back to one of the biggest premises that ever existed for marketing, and that still is hugely important today, and that is the power of having a database, right? And this is so critical. You ask any internet marketer how they've made their money, and it always gets back to the database, their list, right? And it's one of those things where if you learn how to build a list and build relationships with those lists and that connection, then you're going to do exceptionally well, right, Ira?
Absolutely. And this is the one thing that most business owners, whether they've been in business a long time or a brief amount of time, whether you're a solo entrepreneur or you're a mid-sized company, most companies fail miserably at this, miserably. I bumped into people that have been in business for 5 years, and they got a database of under 500 people. How is that even possible? And so as you build your community, and one of the things, as Corey stated, we know for a fact, because we know all these guys that are 7-8 figure internet marketers on and offline. There's not one of them that has a baby database. You've got to build your community. Some people call it a tribe. You've got to build a following of raving fans. And it's really not hard. All you've got to do is give value. Give so much value that they think you're crazy, and they keep coming back for more. And you always want to give your best stuff for free first. And so there's a lot of tips and tricks on how to have that attraction where people are just drawn to you. I call it attraction marketing. So it's sort of like, do you want to push the rope or do you want to pull the rope? You want everybody to be drawn to you. Another thing about databases, every month you don't follow up and communicate with your database, you lose 10% of your influence. Think about that. So it's sort of like dating. You go on a date, you have a great date, and you get busy and you forget to call. And then a year goes by and you call the gal up and you say, "What's up?" And she can't even remember you. And she said, "I just got married," and she dial toned you. I mean, David Fagan calls that a business booty call. You never ever want to do that. So you want to build these strong, great relationships, and that is the way to get to the gold mine. Because without those relationships, it will never happen. You can be the most motivated person on the planet if you don't have that strategy in place. Another thing, as you build that list, the fastest way to explode your company is through joint venture partnerships, by leveraging other people's lists and other people's relationships. And we're going to get into that during the course as well, right, Corey?
That's right. Absolutely. And here's the so you might ask, okay, what does this have to do with LinkedIn? Right? I mean, building a database and all that stuff. I mean, does that really have anything to do with LinkedIn whatsoever? Well, and actually it does, because LinkedIn is actually one of the sleeping giants of database building ever put together. Right? It is one of the behemoths of list building and relationship building and database building that most people ignore completely. And we did this in the very beginning as well, absolutely. So but we wanted to change all of that. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with LinkedIn. A lot of people go out there and get connections, and they have like 500 connections, 300 connections, 2,000 connections, whatever they have. Now, connections are all great, but most people don't know, first of all, what to do with that. But here's how I look at the LinkedIn connection atmosphere, is that all of those connections, they are your database. And I have to say, with the changing atmosphere of with the changing atmosphere over here, you can actually, one of the interesting things is that you can actually tap into your LinkedIn database and get better response than you can anywhere else, right? Email marketing. Back in the days, email marketing used to be the best thing ever as far as your marketing, right? You'd be able to close deals, get a lot of responses and all that stuff. But it's a changing game for email marketing, wouldn't you say, Ira?
Absolutely. I mean, email marketing is still alive and well, but if I had to pick between the two, I definitely would, go towards LinkedIn. LinkedIn, its landscape is set up in such a way for you to win if you understand it. And so, LinkedIn is one of those well-kept secrets. I'll give you an example. If you the click-through rate on LinkedIn, they say, depending on the situation, can be 30 to 50 times higher. Why? Because people on LinkedIn have an empty inbox. Their inbox is not cluttered like email. So when you show up and you send the message, it usually winds up on their phone because most people, have that forwarded on. And so they look on their mobile phone. The average person is on their mobile phone over 100 times a day. Now, you're messaging out. A lot of people, they'll look at that and they'll go, wow, we're in the same group. You're showing up differently. They know that you're substantial. They know that, you're somebody that's probably very successful, that you care about your business. When you send emails out, you're just lumped into the masses. And so when you show up with LinkedIn and you send messages, sometimes the response rates, Corey, we just did a blast out to a group and regarding an event. Talk about how big that response was.
Here's what I got to say about LinkedIn responses. If you send messages out to your database on LinkedIn, the response is 5 to 10 times as much. 5 to 10 times higher. For the same output of energy, you are getting 5 to 10 times the results. Amount of people responding back and all that. And the way we do it seems very personable. So this is incredible. I would take a look at this right away, and I would move completely from what you're doing as far as email marketing, because you might notice that if you're sending out emails, you're getting very little response back. And that's not where you want to be. You want to be sending out messages and getting a ton of response, a lot of activity going on. And that's exactly what we've been able to do and demonstrate. So let's talk about that. So LinkedIn, it's a huge database of the best kind of prospects you could imagine. Every kind of prospect is sitting there waiting for you to tap into it. So what are your first steps? Number one, you want to get a lot of LinkedIn connections, a lot of really key decision maker LinkedIn connections. You don't want to just go after everybody, right? You want to go after the people that can actually do business with you. So one of the great things about LinkedIn is that you can really search and find connections that are really your decision makers, property managers or attorneys or doctors or dentists or sales directors or human resources individuals. So you can tap into that database. You go to LinkedIn, you look for the advanced search tab, start typing in your qualifications, who you're looking for, business owners, where are they from, what zip codes, all of that stuff. So you can do that on LinkedIn and start building up your connection database. Okay, so it's one of the exceptional things about it. Now, you might say, well, don't I need an email address to do that? Well, in certain cases, yes. But what really happens is that one of the things that LinkedIn has allowed you to do is really incredible, connect basically almost anybody. And it's through something called LinkedIn groups. You can actually go into the LinkedIn groups and connect with all of the group members that are in there. Right? And what are groups? Groups are basically clusters of people interested in the same things. They're people interested in B2B sales, people interested in video, people interested in learning social media or pay-per-click. They're dentists and they want to learn dentist marketing, right? They're project managers and they've got clusters of people in there. There are people looking for jobs over here. There are all kinds of groups. There's millions and millions of groups on LinkedIn. So you get into a group and now you can start connecting with a lot of the members. And so you want to start building your database. Right? Now, here's where it gets really exciting. When you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, you now have the ability to message them and send them direct messages and really prospect to them. And you can do this as many times as you like in the course of a month, right? Obviously do it for what's good for your business and how many touch points you need for your prospects, but you can send out messages to all the people that you are connected to. So just think about it. Let's just say you have 200 connections right now. That could easily, in the next couple of months, next week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, you could quickly get that up to 1,000, and then even beyond that, 2,000 connections really fast. And when I look at that, that's another database of 2,000 people you can message to on an ongoing basis. Now, it gets even more exciting than that. There's a new feature in LinkedIn where it's called tagging. So you can actually tag all your connections differently. So you can have a tag list for your clients. You can have a tag list for your customers and your past customers. So have a segment of that. Okay. You can have a segment for your prospects, right? So you could every 2 weeks. Here's what we recommend: send them a piece of content, a nice little message with a call to action at the very end of it that'll help them schedule into your calendar, right? This is really huge because now you're staying in contact with them, you're giving them content, and I mean, that's 24 times in a year. If you're doing it every 2 weeks, just think about that. Most people, when they get a connection, they never do anything with that. It's just they're in their database, and there's no other further action that's made from that. Well, instead, let's flip the coin. Let's make it easy. Let's have a little piece of content we send them, and it doesn't even have to be content you make. I mean, you could go to news.google.com and find a piece of content that's in your industry, that kind of makes sense for them, that'll help them become a client of your product and service, and send that to them. Right? Just a little relationship building. Okay, found this, thought you'd be interested in it. Right? Could be a fun little video on YouTube or something like that. So all you're trying to do is stay top of mind to get them to take action on it. But you're tapping into your LinkedIn database. And you can even, out of your prospects, you can tag it as different types. Let's just say you have 3 industries you're going into. You could have, your dentist prospects over here. You could have your business owner prospect right here. I mean, you could have your referral partners, your super referral partners over here, and so you message to them differently. But you're sending messages to them on a continuous basis, building the relationship, getting in front of them over and over and over again. Because I mean, a lot of times the only time people are really connecting with them is maybe they go to a trade show or something and see them at an industry event or all of that stuff. You want to stay in front of them continuously, and you can do that on LinkedIn. Now, here's another thing you want to do is make sure that your profile has a lot of great information on it. There's something called the profile summary. And the profile summary is essentially this. It should be basically what you do, how you do it, what makes you different, what separates you from your competition, and what people do next. It's kind of like its own little sales letter, its own little message, its own little advertisement for your business, where it gives them the full, complete list of everything that you do and how you can help them. And the people that are interested right then will take action. They'll be like, wow, this is cool. This guy looks like he knows his stuff. And then if you have an opt-in page or a landing page where they can get free stuff, if you have your phone number on there, they'll call you up. Basically, this is where people will go and check you out, because people always check you out. Whenever they're looking to connect with you or do anything with you as far as LinkedIn, they're going to check out your profile. They're going to see, okay, is this guy for real? Does he have a lot of good stuff going on? Is he a good connection to have? All of that stuff. So this is where you want to really, put the selling into it, because it's going to be your subtle salesperson. This is your profile summary on LinkedIn. Definitely take advantage of this, because every time somebody goes to that, you want to be, silently kind of selling them on what you're doing, and you're letting your profile do all the selling for you. Meanwhile, you're just connecting and offering nice content pieces and all that stuff. So that's another piece that's really important. By the way, when somebody connects with you, you want to say, thank you so much for the connection. I really appreciate it. By the way, here's what I'm up to. This might be interesting to you, right? And then you kind of talk about what you're doing and the, maybe some of the products or services you offer and how you can help them, and then maybe offer them a strategy session or a consultation or whatever it is, that free irresistible offer that you have that'll bring them into your funnel and essentially help them become a prospect and into a client over here. So that's kind of it's a multi-step kind of thing. But if you do that, you're going to do it exceptionally well. So first off, build your connection database. Second off, when they connect with you, send them a message about what you're up to and all of that stuff. By the way, make sure you work on your profile. Have a great profile that does that. That's your silent salesperson right there when people click on to go look at it. Next, you want to tag them. Are they a prospect? Are they a client? Are they a referral partner? Tag them correctly so you can message out to them in the future. Because what you want to do now is follow up with them every couple of weeks with a easy little piece of content that helps them become a client, helps them become a customer, helps you build a relationship with them, and keeps you top of mind in front of them, right? And do that, consistently, and people always know you and respond back. And when you have this going on, let's say you have an event coming on, a webinar that you're putting on, boom, you send out a message to your LinkedIn database, you're going to get a lot of registrants, and you're going to get even more response than you ever get with your emails, guaranteed. So if you're using Constant Contact or Infusionsoft or Salesforce or MailChimp and stuff like that, LinkedIn is actually a much better way to tap into your database. Absolutely is, because number one, people respect it more. They don't get a lot of LinkedIn messages, so they're going to take action on it more. They're going to respond more. They're going to get it right to their email inbox anyway, and so you're getting them right on their emails and also on their cell phones, which is hugely important. So do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn and how to do this. Okay, and anything else on that, Ira, before we kind of go on to the next bit?
Yeah, I mean, you're bringing up some really great points. It's all about, follow-up is everything. 80 to 90% of all sales happen from the 5th to the 12th touch point. And, I tell people an economy problem, we have a follow-up problem. And that's really another area that we all, people really need to work on. And so, by following up and staying in front of them with great content, people don't mind hearing from you as long as you have something valuable. I have someone that emails me every day. That's really a lot. But you know what? I don't mind, because I know every time I open up that email, I'm going to get a little nugget, and it's going to make me think about something I wasn't thinking about earlier. So I actually look forward to those emails. And so it's important that you push out great content. Here's the other thing. By going through this program with us, and we're with you every step of the way, we're going to get you laser beam focused on what really works right now, not what worked 3 years ago. And there's so much misinformation out there on marketing. It's a marketing game now more than ever before. What entrepreneurs are doing at this moment, they're doing, I call, spaghetti against the wall marketing. They just throw it against the wall and hope something sticks. These are things that we're going to get into. Also, we're going to have a part in there on mindset, and I call it PDF. So write this down. PDF is like a PDF file. Persistence, discipline, and focus. And you need all three to be a successful entrepreneur. All the strategy we're talking about right now take persistence. They take discipline. You've got to have discipline in your day. You can't just throw your day away with things that are just kind of fun and easy to do. You've got to really get in the groove, and you've got to create this magical thing called momentum. Because without momentum, you have nothing. It's sort of like a jet airplane taking off. If that airplane is going 10 miles an hour, even though it could go 800 miles an hour down the runway, it needs to get that velocity to take off. Entrepreneurs are identical. You've got to have speed. You've got to have velocity. And when you have a full calendar every week, and by doing all these strategies, you will have a full calendar. Now you have this magical thing called momentum. When you have a full calendar, here's what happens. You show up with confidence. Okay? Business is a confidence game. If you're only talking to 1 or 2 people a week for potential selling opportunities, you show up completely different than if you have a full calendar. People are waiting in line because they want to talk to you, because you're selling yourself, you're selling your services, and they're drawn to you. So it's all about momentum. And then the last thing on the PDF is focus. So he who is the most focused always wins. And that's really a big problem, a big challenge for all business owners, is because we're so creative, we go off in lots of different directions. What this program is designed to do is to get you laser beam focused, so you're focusing on the things that actually work right now. By getting a lot of connections on LinkedIn and not doing anything with it, I have a name for that. I call it patty cake marketing, where you're just kind of going through the motions, you're kicking the can down the road, and you've got all smoke and no fire. The way we're describing what Corey was talking about a moment ago, this is stuff that works. It's battle tested. We've been in the trenches, and we've refining and changing and modifying and recalibrating all of this 24/7 for the last 3 to 4 years around the clock. So this is the best of the best. We're pulling back the curtain. We're holding back nothing, and we're giving you proprietary information that has gotten us to a place where almost overnight, when we use these strategies, we became a 7-figure company. Right, Corey?
That's right. So definitely take these to heart, utilize them. Here's another thing you want to do, because your whole purpose here is to get the appointment, right? You want to fill your calendar up. If you're doing anything else but that, then you're probably kind of wasting a little bit of your time. Well, a lot of your time, perhaps. So the biggest thing that you want to do is fill your calendar now. Here's a quick little piece of the system, the Lead Tsunami system, that is super effective, and that's you want to get a video in front of them that explains your product or service. This is huge. It's going to save you a lot of time when you're in that meeting, because by then people already know a lot about what you do and how you do it and how they can take the next steps, right? So this is a critical piece that you want to implement into your sales process right away. Before you have that meeting, send them a little sales video, an explainer video. I mean, it could be a couple minutes long. Ours is approximately 15 minutes long, but it takes them through all of the steps of the sales presentation, because you know what? We notice that when we're talking to people and talking to prospects, we're going through the same things anyway. We're saying the exact same things over and over and over and over again. Why not take a video and have the video do the selling for us beforehand? Now we're in the meeting, we're just building relationships, right? And reinforcing what we already went over in the video. So that was the biggest thing for us. When we figured out this piece of it, saved us so much time. So instead of going from doing a 2-meeting close or a 4-meeting close, we could take, let's just say it takes this amount of effort or this amount of salesmanship in order to close somebody, right, 100%. What if I could go this far, right, so cover this distance here with the sales video, so then I just have to go this little bit further in that actual meeting, right? It makes it easier to close that deal right in that first meeting, because they already know everything. They've already kind of had time to think about it and kind of see if they really want to come on board. Now it's just about pricing and closing the deal and the terms of the contract and all that stuff. So I want you to really utilize that and do it in a big way, and it has to be done through video, because video is the most visual thing. It really helps people understand it. People love watching video. They would much rather watch a video than read anything. Nobody wants to read PDFs or white papers or anything like that anymore, right? Everybody has attention deficit disorder. So you need to get them on the medium that they're most likely to watch and connect to. And if you do it through video and make it interesting and compelling and persuasive, then you'll get people to watch the entire thing. Now, you want to keep it relatively short. We used to think we, do this in an hour-long webinar. We used to take an hour-long webinar and send it to people, right? Now, this worked. The people that watched that hour-long webinar, guess what? They were becoming clients, right? Because they had invested that amount of time into it. But what we found is, roughly about 30% of the people actually watched that video. And what happened to the other 70%? They didn't watch it, so they showed up unprepared. So we decided to kind of look at that. We addressed it by kind of shrinking down the video. And then we went to a 20-minute video and then a 15-minute video. And we found out that's kind of a good sweet spot where we can have enough details in it to be persuasive, but also, keep it short enough so that almost everybody can watch it. Now we have almost everybody watching that video when they show up to the meeting. And you know what? If they haven't watched that video by the time they show up, then we will oftentimes reschedule the meeting, because we need them to watch that. Otherwise, we're starting from ground zero. Okay, so we always make sure that they invest the time in that aspect, because when they do that, you're more likely to close a deal if you take this method and utilize it in your own business. Right, Ira?
Absolutely, and I've done thousands of presentations, and I got to tell you, as soon as we started this strategy, immediately I could see and feel the difference, and our numbers doubled almost immediately. And because when they show up, it's like they've already had a presentation given by you. So you're building trust. They know what you do. A confused mind will never do anything. I don't care what the price is. So there's nothing worse than going through a presentation, and at the end they're more confused than when you started. And that used to happen to us, as it happens to a lot of people. It's real easy to get people confused because they can only process so much information at a time. And so it really, really helps build the trust. It also separates you from your competition. Is your competition having them watch videos before they're talking to them? Absolutely not. Why not be different? Why not, be out of the pack? Why not be really unique and different? And the other thing about video is we have a brain scan of what your brain actually looks like watching a video. And it's shocking. It was on 60 Minutes. A 1-minute video has the same emotional impact as 1.8 million written words. That's amazing. and it's lit up like a Christmas tree, and the brain that's just looking at an email has no color whatsoever. So without emotion, you have nothing. And no one is going to buy anything if you just give them plain, boring, logical data. People will not respond to that. You have to trigger emotion. When people watch a video, your brain actually produces a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is that feel-good brain chemical that makes us say, oh, heck, why not? Let's just do this. Because you're tapping in to the part of the brain that wants to do things, and it feels good. And so you've got to take them from logic to emotion. If you don't bridge that gap, all you're going to give a ton of presentations, and they're going to say, you know, I love you, I love your product, I got to think about it and call me in a week or two. And that is no fun. That's happened to everybody. So video with LinkedIn is a powerful two-punch combination, but it has to be done correctly. It's got to be laser beam, microscopic focused, and it's got to be done in a very precise way. But one thing about the video, it doesn't have to be perfect. The most important thing is you just get the content in front of them. Don't get hung up with where it's got to be this, you know, Steven Spielberg production. It could be something very simple, just so that the sound and the lighting and the content is all done properly. Right, Corey?
And, you know, actually you can see this slide up on the screen. So you see over here, you know, this guy was hooked up to some electrodes, and, you know, this is what his brain looks like when he's watching a minute video, and this is reading an email. So kind of an interesting little concept, but I wanted to show this real quick before we move on to the next piece. But this is huge. I mean, this is neuroscience marketing, so you definitely want to take full advantage of this. Absolutely. Let me go over here real quick. And so what's next? Okay, what's next for you? So this has been the Lead Tsunami system. This is all about using LinkedIn to generate the lead. It's all about building relationships, building your database with it, and going on to the next, going on to the next step, which is filling your calendar. We talked about, staying in front of all your prospects on a consistent basis every 2 weeks. How you pitch them, initially by sending them to your profile and getting them to read your profile and having your sales letter in there, your sales message. Okay, these are all important parts of the Lead Tsunami system, and you want to take action on it because it definitely, absolutely works. All right, if you start doing this right away, you're going to start to notice, lots of connections, but more importantly, you're going to start filling your calendar with lots of revenue-producing potential. Okay, so really take advantage of this fact, this information that we're sharing with you, because this is the culmination of 6 years of in the trenches, very scientific, very microscopic prospecting work. So we want to hear about you using the system, using LinkedIn to get leads, using LinkedIn to build your database, using LinkedIn to stay in front of your database consistently, using it to fill your calendar, using video to actually pre-sell your prospects before you get to the meeting, and all of that stuff. Those are the essential pieces of the Lead Tsunami system. So take full advantage of it, and we want to hear about your results. All right, Ira, anything else before we wrap up this video?
Yeah, I'm very passionate, as Corey is, about this program. It's the best of all the things that have worked for us. Our end goal for you is very simple. We want you to become a fearless marketing warrior. That's right, a fearless marketing warrior, not weak, meek, and timid. We want you out there, and we want to give you the right tools, because it's a battleground out there. I don't care what anyone says. I'm all about collaboration, and that's wonderful. We believe in collaboration, but also, it's competition. You want to be able to go out there and grab market share, and you don't want to necessarily compete. You want to dominate and own your space. So by going through this program, we're going to show you how to out-hustle, out-think, out-strategize, and outsell your competition. And that's our commitment and promise to you. And that's our end goal, and that's our purpose for putting this whole program together, is give you the tools when you show up on that battlefield. You're not showing up with a squirt gun with no water in it. You're showing up with tanks and guns and shock and awe and blowing everything out of the water in your path. So it's a marketing game. We're going to give you the strategies. This is what got us Marketer of the Year through the Business Journal. This is how we wound up with 30. We got clients in over 30 countries all over the globe. We have some of the top corporations in the world working with us, top internet, online, offline marketers that are our clients. So these are the strategies that helped us. So we're very proud of this program. It's kind of like our little pet project that we've been working on for a long, long time. And it's our way of giving back to the entrepreneurial community because we are fierce advocates for today's small business owner. And we're in your corner every step of the way. So, you know, you take that first step, and you already have, and we're going to take the rest with you. Right, Corey?
That's right. And so what are your next steps? Well, here's what we want to do. We actually want to offer you some premium access into our latest course called Mojo Lead Mastery. Now, what is Mojo Lead Mastery? Well, it's 10 proven ways to get leads. We're talking about LinkedIn, so we're diving more into the lead tsunami system. Right? We're also talking about Facebook. We're talking about how do you get meetings set up from trade shows and networking and speaking gigs and referral partners and Google+. Right? All of these different methods to fill your calendar. We're going to go through them. These are proven. We've got all these massive, massive experts on these topics, along with Mojo, talking about how you do this very quickly, very simply, and very easily in your own business. So we're very excited about helping you with this. And so we're offering you actually a free trial into the program. So there's going to be a button on here where you can find out more information about this and how you take full advantage of this free trial. So make sure you do, okay, because it's really going to separate you from everybody else. And we're really excited about getting you into this, teaching you how to generate leads and how to do so quickly so you can start filling your calendar with leads and just know that every day you're going to have 5 leads, 10 leads that are coming in, 2 to 5 appointments, 10 appointments. And that, at the end of the day, is what people want. They want a safe, secure, and predictable way to generate leads, and that's exactly what we're going to show you in this program. All right, Ira, we're going to wrap it up. Anything else?
No, I just want to congratulate you for watching right now. That tells me a lot about you. It tells me that you're serious, not curious, about growing your business. And so you got to have the right tools, so I congratulate you on being here at this moment. You could be doing a lot of other things. The fact that you're watching this at this moment means you got through all the content. It tells us a lot about you, so I want to congratulate you. Let's crush it this next year. If you want $1 million, it's already been printed. You just got to figure out how to give so much value that value supersedes price. So having said all that, I want to sign off. Corey, anything else?
No, thanks everybody. We'll talk with you soon. This is Corey Michael Sanchez, Ira Rosen, MojoVideoMarketing.com. We'll talk to you soon, and let us know if there's anything else you need. Adios.